Good, everybody. Davidson, Crooks here. One half a fast break here for High Sports Radio. You're direct forward sports. Brian and Sultan tonight. D-Logs is on layover in Denver, coming back for nationals in Oregon. Shout out to the Pit track team on their success out there in Oregon. But on tonight's show, I go over game one. I'll go over what happened, overreactions, some things, underlying things that got to be done by both teams. Also, game two is in live broadcast right now as I'm speaking to you right now on the interwebs. I'll discuss that as the broadcast chugs along. And also, Tom Thibodeau got let go by the Knicks. So we'll discuss that and all that as well. But this is Fast Break here live for High Sports Radio. You're ready for always sports. And I'll catch you on the other side after this intro concludes. And welcome into the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with me tonight. Like I said, D-Log's not here with us tonight. Like I said, they lay over in Denver as we speak right now. So, getting to Pittsburgh from Denver is going to be a long trek. So he's not going to be joining us with us tonight. On tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen, lots to talk about. Game one of the NBA Finals happened Thursday. We'll dive into that. And then also, as y'all new to the show, whatever, if games are live, we usually kind of talk about the games in live and stuff like that, kind of give like a running commentary. So I will be talking about game two here throughout. Right now, trying to get the score right now. Right now, the Pacers, I think they're down. Let me double check. They got show 50 stats about player scoring. Actually, the Pacers are down right now. They're down 12-10 with 6:40 left in the first quarter. I don't know who's leading right now because I'm trying to get things set, get my topics in, all that. So 11-12 OKC with SGA bringing the ball up the court. Pass out to Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams sending the screen on Shepard, I believe. Ben Mathurin guarding SGA. SGA rising up over Mathurin and foul on Ben Mathurin on the shot. So SGA is going to the line right there. So I'll pop in here in a little bit. I do want to remind y'all, follow us on X, Fast Break IXR right there. Follow D-Lock right there on X as well, Black-813. And then follow me on X as well, Spawn4288 as well. All right. Game one. Game one. I'm going to re-edit that. Okay. Game one, NBA Finals recap. So, going back to game one, and game two in progress right now. The Pacers, in which a lot of people had the Thunder winning, coaches at home, NBA Finals, one of the better crowds in the NBA in OKC, despite if they win in multiple games or they lose in multiple games, they folks show up in OKC. But get the box score up. But the Pacers win 111-110. Siakam with 19 points, 10 rebounds for him, 3 assists. Miles Turner, who had a big kind of fourth quarter right there with 15 points in a sense. Halibrton, get to more in a second, 14 points, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Neiman Hart, 14 points, 17 points off the bench for Obi Toppin. So that bench production showing up once again for the Pacers in a big way. So, and the other side of things, OKC, 38 points for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And then Jalen Williams, 17 points for him, 15 points for Lu Dort as well. So if you kind of look in the scope of things real quick, you thought OKC had this game won. Like, you look at this, you look at everything that happened, that you figure OKC had this game won. But one thing that Rick Carlisle has gotten this group the past couple years, not this playoff run, but let's go back to the last one. The past couple years, he's got these dudes to fight. He got these dudes to persevere and push through. There's no slack with this group. Go back to last year, with Boston. Boston is just more the talented team. That's what happened. And then I think you went to a little bit experience with some of the group of guys. Maybe minus Siakam and Miles Turner. But this time around, you still got the same unit. You really made no big changes to this group, per se. You drafted, guys like Jarvis Walker and whatnot, but you really made no big changes with this group at all. If you really look at the scope of things. And now that's same core group carry over to this season, and now you kind of see the fruits of that labor. And you come to game one, Halibrton is like on I won't say a hot streak, but kind of like, that potential we kind of saw out of Iowa State, and the potential we saw at times for Sacramento is really coming to fruition. Yeah, he might not start off strong, whatever, and whatnot. Yeah, he might not, disappear at times. But when it comes to like clutch situations, show up in big time in the fourth quarter, whatnot, that mindset clicks on right there, and he shows up at dominate. And posted a video to our Twitter account. The rebound, the run up the floor, him taking that shot, thing of beauty. He's not scared of these moments. And I think, that's one thing I think that's really propelled the Pacers this way, like him not being afraid of the big moment. We saw it against the Bucks. We saw it against the Cavs. We damn sure saw it against the Knicks. He's not afraid of these big moments. And it doesn't have to be last second shots. Going back to that game 6 in the against the Knicks. Game 6 against the Knicks. The floaters in the middle. I think he got like about 10 points in the floater in the middle in the fourth quarter, because the Knicks defense was lacking, which I'll get to more in a little bit. But this guy's not lacking in attitude, not lacking in confidence. Right now they're down by 2 points to OKC with Isaiah Hartenstein going to the line. They're not lacking. And you got a strong, determined coach in Rick Carlisle that's not going to let these guys lack. So, for me, I look at more of the OKC side of things, like, damn, and we talked about this last week, like, I feel like OKC got a more complete team, the better bench, per se. But I think, you kind of started seeing that inexperience show up a little bit. Or the OKC team too inexperienced for this moment right now. Yes and no. If that makes sense. To me, I think, Caruso being the real only veteran. I mean, yeah, you got Hartenstein there, but okay. Toppin dropping the lane, going for a layup, blocked by Chet Holmgren there. Good block by Holmgren. I don't know why Toppin trying to make a scoop layup on a 7'1" dude, but okay. He should have went for contact trying to dunk on him, but okay. If that had been like a 6'5" dude, be trying to dunk all over him. I don't get that. I mean, I know it's a bigger man. I know Obi Toppin trying, get the best shot you can over 7 foot big man, but go to get some contact, get the foul on him. You bigger than Chet Holmgren with size and all that stuff. Just go up and dunk on him. But anyways. But to OKC, Shai Gilgeous showed up, 38 points. I like to see the assists be better. But I think Jalen Williams not having that strong third quarter we kind of been seeing all playoffs kind of playing the factor in things, in my humble opinion. I think that kind of played a little bit in a factor of things that, it didn't do much. Holmgren didn't really do too much. Going back to the stat line. Hartenstein, who they put in the bench for this game one, put Case and Wallace in there. Hartenstein, 9 points, 9 rebounds. Holmgren, 6 points and 6 rebounds. And between the two of them, 3 fouls apiece. 3 fouls altogether. So that's got to be better in game 2 as I watch him right now. Your big man against the Pacers, who real big thick down low. And I know people will say, yeah, you got Siakam down there, all that stuff, and blah, blah, blah. Siakam, let's be real. He can play power forward, but he's more of a 3. I know he's about 6'9" and stuff like that, but he's more of a 3 man. You know what I'm saying? If you put Siakam on OKC, you could stretch him out to a 3. I know the NBA is smaller and stuff like that compared to the, back in the day and stuff like that, about 30 years ago. I get that. But in that time, I mean, you could put Siakam there, but he worked more better as a 3. Like, you put him on the 2001 Lakers, probably a 3 man. That works at times a 4. Kind of similar like Robert Horry, because Robert Horry played a 3 early in his career. And, later on in age and stuff like that, became a 4 man. But going back to the OKC bigs, y'all got to be better. Chet Holmgren got to be better. Isaiah Hartenstein got to be better. All right. Having combined, look at my phone again, 15 points between the two of y'all, it's not going to cut it against Indiana. It's not going to cut it. If I had to look at the stat line right now, you're talking about 17 all. Right now, Holmgren got 2 points. Isaiah Hartenstein got 1 point. Compared to the Indiana bigs, 2 points for Miles Turner. Siakam got 3 points. Tommy got 3 points as well. So that's got to be better for OKC. And I think that would be the key for this series. And we talk about on game 1, Miles Turner has a couple of clutch shots that kind of really propel the Pacers back into the game and stuff like that. His shot making ability and whatnot. And you don't want to take him like 10 shots out there, but every once in a while, it's cool for him to take a shot. Right now, going back to game 2, like TJ McCollum bringing the ball up, screened by Thompson, who really didn't screen anybody. Then Halibrton shooting the 3 and connects with the Pacers taking the lead 20-17 with 2:40 left in them first quarter. And Halibrton almost got the steal there. My antenna keeps fluttering. McCollum on the screen for Halibrton. Halibrton driving, rising up. Rebound by Chet Holmgren. And one thing I think OKC got to do, get some skin and rolls for Chet Holmgren. And Holmgren hits a 3-pointer. Pump fake, got a 3-pointer right there. So 3 points for him. I wish he kind of drove it in, but it is what it is. And foul on Isaiah Hartenstein there when Obi Toppin driving. So, like I just alluded to about like 3 minutes ago, why did Obi Toppin didn't drive? Or Chet Holmgren like that. But anyways, back to this game. Back to game 1 to recap that. The big man got to show up. Or is it inside or outside? The big man got to show up. I was alluding to right there about Holmgren making the 3-pointer. That's got to be the scoring got to be more prevalent between those two big men. Get Miles Turner in foul trouble. Make them go to deep in their bench with Thomas Bryant, Toppin, and the other kid Bradley. Make them go deep in the bench. Make Siakam guard your big guys down low. If you can do those things, I think you'd be straight. I think SGA is gonna be straight. I think Jalen Williams is gonna be straight. But if you got nothing going down low, and those big men can't come up in key situations, especially like going back to the Denver series with Isaiah Hartenstein, missing those bunnies. He gave at least 10 points down low against the Nuggets in that overtime game. I forgot which game was it, but he missed like about 8 shots down. I was like, damn, dude, can you make one? And he's at the rim. Oh, this at the rim. He's missing these bunnies. But to recap, as I'm watching game 2 right now, like I said, key for OKC to win. The big men got to show up. Jalen Williams got to show up, especially in the third quarter. I think that's been his bread and butter. Like when he shows up in the third quarter, it's like it swings momentum in OKC's favor. When he's making shots, making plays, stuff like that. With OKC up by 4 now, under a minute left in the third quarter. I think Jalen Williams got to show up as well. And then I think one of the world players got to show up as well. Like a big momentum way, like either Caruso, Wallace, Isaiah Joe. One of those guys got to show up in a big momentum way, defensively or offensively, to kind of like swing that momentum and keep that momentum on OKC side. Nice push off by SGA there. And he missed a 3-pointer. So, but into the Pacers side of things, don't get down too big. Stay within distance. Kind of like you are right now. Only down by 4. Stay within distance. And also Tyrese Halibrton. I know he came out big in the game and won the game for you, but it's got to stretch for all 4 quarters for Halibrton. I mean, I like that he shows up in the 4th quarter like that, take charge and take control, but it's got to show all 4 quarters in my eyes. And then also Miles Turner, can't get into foul trouble, pick your spots on the 3-point line, and kind of dominate down low. Got experience, against Chet Holmgren, got experience, and Isaiah Hartenstein uses it. And also for the bench guys, Obi Toppin got to show up. Benedict Mathurin, I love Benedict Mathurin. He's got to show up. Show me that potential that you've been showing for the past couple of years. Show up. And the rest of the road guys, do your job. Play sound defense. Just make your shots. Follow your shot. If you don't make the initial shot, follow your shot. Do the basic basketball things. But I want to take a quick break. On the other side of things, I'm going to continue my Game 2 live talk and talk about Tom Thibodeau being let go by the New York Knicks. But this is Fast Break here for Icebox Radio. You're the Forward Sports, and I'll catch you on the other side.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
And welcome back to the show where we talk straight basketball. See, here at IE Sports Radio, we do the damn thing here. We talk about sports, all that stuff, keep it 100 for y'all. Now, sometimes me and D-Lock go off course, talk about things, but, we still keeping the realm in basketball and whatnot. But thank you for tuning in with me tonight. D-Lock will be back next week. He's on label over in Denver, coming for Nationals in Oregon. So, and y'all have done that long trek from coast to coast. Y'all know how that is and how that feels. So, shout out to him. Safe travels to him on his journey back home to Pittsburgh. So, right now, I know I teased Tom Thibodeau here. I know I did. But going back to game two, we're in the second quarter right now with the Thunder up 26-20. With Jalen Williams driving the ball and beautiful layup by I can't tell who that is right now. But beautiful layup by whoever it was from OKC. They're up 28-20. Siakam driving the ball. Neiman Hart up top the key. Nobody setting the screen for him. There goes the screen by Miles Turner. TJ McConnell wide open for the three, and he makes it. That's another thing too. And which I thought TJ McConnell is more of a gunner. Because the times I watch him, he just shoot the three just at will. But at times in his playoffs, he just like kind of hesitated and stuff like that and whatnot. And Jalen Williams going to the line, got the foul on TJ McConnell down low. It's like, well, he's trying to take a charge, like him and Nembhard, right there trying to take charge. And he want to well, you want to take charge? You want to take charge? And TJ McConnell took the bullet and got the foul. And 3-point play completed by Jalen Williams. And OKC's up by 9 right now, early in the second quarter. And this is what I talked about before I go into the break. Pacers cannot let the lead balloon. Matthews screen and shot. Rebound by OKC. Jalen Williams running gunning. Caruso on the layup. Fast break. Missed the layup. And they call goaltending on Siakam. I thought he just missed the ball. Huh. Regardless, looking. Caruso driving again, fast break. And got the foul in and one possibly. They call foul on Caruso. And if y'all listen to me, I don't got the volume on because I'm doing the show right now and I won't get flagged YouTube, all that stuff. You had to call a charge, I think. So good charge by Newhart right there. Want to get the foul call on Caruso. There you go. There you go, Miles Turner. There you go. That's what you should be doing. Like that's what I just said. Should be banging those boys down low. Great shot by Miles Turner to cut the lead back to 9. A good steal by TJ McCollum playing the passing lane right there. All the driving on the way. Good pass and fast break. Good layup by Ben Matthew right there. So down to 7. Or excuse me, 6. Excuse me. Just simple basketball. And Miles Turner battling alone. You got to help him out there. Siakam is sitting there hanging on the 3-point line and kind of out of control, slow it down a little bit. McConnell right there. You got to take a shot. Like I said about TJ McConnell, I don't know why he's hesitating on these shots right here. It's kind of odd. And good shot by Jalen Williams. He's really mastered that mid-range game. So quick in his career. But I was on saying that, like, take the shot, dude. Just take the damn shot. You know what I'm saying? Just take the damn shot. I'm sitting there just like, damn, just take the shot. Anyways, so they go on the timeout. Let me get my topic up. And we're going to talk about Tom Thibodeau here in a second. I gotta get this out real quick. So get this out. All right. Sorry for the delay right there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, got that in. All right. So I think, coming to this week's show, if this story didn't happen, it would be just a straight finals talk, maybe a little bit WNBA. But since this happened, we got to talk about it. Tom Thibodeau, after 5 years with the Knicks, has finally been let go. It's been let go by the Knicks brass. Who made the call? I don't know. Team reports World Be Free. You seen reports by Leon Rose. And then you heard the final report by that some say James Dolan made the final call. So whoever it may be. But Tom Thibodeau was let go by the Knicks. Now, I'm going to this article here because a lot of stuff been coming about it. But Vinny Goodwill of Yahoo Sports is really one been kind of leading reporting on this, and a lot of players, I guess, really came to him on this. But this was Vinny Goodwill put out Saturday evening. The initial shock has worn off for the Knicks firing Tom Thibodeau after the successful 5-year run and a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since the year 2000. We talked about this last week. This is the first time in a long time the Knicks got deep in a run like this. Like year 2000, I was living in Missouri. Just moved out to Missouri. Me and my family. Dad got transferred out there to Missouri. And that's what the year the Pacers beat the Knicks in that Eastern Conference Finals run. But yeah, that was middle school age for me. That's a long damn time. And I'm 37 now. And think about all the coaches that came around that time. That was Jeff Van Gundy era. Then you get like the Rose Gallery of coaches. Um, Isaiah Thomas, Larry Brown, Mike D'Antoni. I think Jeff Hornacek is in there. Jeff Hornacek, Derek Fisher. I feel like I'm missing a few folks. But yeah, you had like a Rose Gallery of coaches. Then when Thibodeau gets there, things turn on a dime, and he had the most success as a coach probably since Van Gundy. He's gonna be real about it. And now you let him go after 5 years, and after your trip to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, going back to this article, what was clear was Thibodeau's firing being spearheaded by Knicks owner James Dolan, probably one of the worst owners in sports. But let's continue. Sources told Yahoo Sports, Dolan and team president Leon Rose held exit meetings with key Knicks players, and the complaints were clear. Dolan, who sources said was never a huge Thibodeau fan through the years, never a fan, but brought you success. James Dolan, the gift that keeps on giving for New York, asked the questions in the meeting while Rose took a secondary role. And I'm going to say this about Thibodeau. We started discussing last week. Thibodeau is a great coach to get you to a point. Like, we kind of got like a group chat within ourselves here on Ice Sports Radio, discuss things, stuff like that, bounce our ideas, whatever. Mike Pratt, who did our DC show, said the Wizards should go out there. I said, yeah, they should, because at least with him there, he get you out of the mud. You know what I'm saying? At least he get you out of the mud. At least he get y'all in playoff contention and stuff like that. So if you like a young team like that, like Charlotte, Washington, who else I can think of? Who sucks right now? Pelicans, Memphis. I know they made the playoffs, but you get my point. I know the Spurs hired old boy, but we'll see how that goes. The Blazers, Kings, those teams out there. Hell, the Phoenix Suns. Granted, they've been finding coaches left and right here the past couple of years, but hell, why not them? But you get my point. He gets you to a point, and after a point, it's like he don't really kind of evolve, don't really change his style. It's just like, there it is, grit and grind, whatever, toughness, where to play my guys, strong minutes, all that stuff. We saw in Chicago. Everybody points to Derrick Rose, but you gotta look. If you look really around, Joakim Noah started breaking down. Luol Deng kind of somewhat started breaking down. A lot of those guys started breaking down in Chicago, and a lot of people didn't notice that. Go to Minnesota, some of the guys kind of start breaking down there. And now I think, that was like a turbulent situation in Minnesota with Jimmy Butler and all that stuff, and Cat situation, when I get to more in a second. And then, kind of wallow a little bit and then land with the Knicks and, kind of turn things around. After Jalen Brunson, and you kind of off to the races. But you kind of saw last year in the run, and especially in the loss of the Pacers. Brunson, ran to Josh Hart, same thing. So Tibbs is good to a point, but I don't think he can get you over the hump per se. You know, at one point that was kind of like Scott Skiles to a point when he was coaching. He got you to a point, but he can never get you over there because of his style and his hard stance and stuff like that. I know the video of Jeff T been circling around stuff like that for the past few days, how he describes Thibodeau and how his coaching method is, all that stuff. You know, and Jeff T took me behind the curtain there and said, you know, Tibbs, you know, just look guys, you know, ISO stuff like that. You know, they use like got dog. I'm trying to paraphrase, but got dog, damn, stuff like that. You know, things of that nature. You know, Thibodeau would do. You gotta do better. You know, stuff like that. Some stuff I say when I coach my kids and stuff like that. Like, you know, Holland, you gotta do better. It's like stuff like that. But for me, I'm coaching young kids, you know, in 10 to 12 game season. You know what I'm saying? I'm coaching kids like that. You know, we're talking about Tibbs who been around NBA circles for years. I never been around NBA circle. College, I talked to some coaches, been around some circles there, but I've never been around an NBA circle. I didn't coach in the NBA. I like to, but I've never been around NBA circles. And Thibodeau been there for years in the NBA system. Been a head coach, multiple stops, had multiple assistants, you know, and kind of wondered, like, as great of a defensive mind he is, like, why he never had somebody like kind of like an offensive coordinator in a sense. And I know from that Knicks staff he just had, that wasn't gonna happen. I looked that up like a couple weeks ago. I was like, damn, that's what the coaches he has on the bench. Rick Brunson, Othello Harrington, Maurice Cheeks, a couple dudes I never heard of. That's who he got as his assistants. No bright offensive mind that could be a head coach down the line or maybe take his damn job in New York. Nothing like that. And then, going back to the article, a couple of players felt like Thibodeau played the starters way too many minutes and felt like he had an inability to adjust, sources said. And another player said he didn't feel like he could play for Thibodeau if the coach returned next season. Now, that paragraph right there is kind of heavy because a lot of speculation, who could that be? Now, I mentioned Karl-Anthony Towns earlier in the show. Karl-Anthony Towns played for Thibodeau once before in Minnesota. Did he say something to management saying, I can't play for that dude if he come back? And that's where the rumors started coming about by Cat, you know, being trade rumor and all that stuff, which I kind of found preposterous from the first place. But did rumors about him being possibly being traded came from that he told folks that, hey man, if he come back, I ain't trying to stay around here. You know, some folks are saying out there is alleged to be Mikal Bridges. Now, you probably listening and saying like Mikal Bridges, he's like the Iron Man, don't miss games, stuff like that. And sometimes the wear and tear gets to you. And then I think I read somewhere else, like somebody said he normally don't do like contact and stuff like that. The tips maybe get on his ass. Hey man, you gotta play a little bit tougher, get more contact and stuff. Yeah, and the Bridges saying like, those two players come to mind. That's the two names that have been kind of thrown around out there a lot about Tom Thibodeau being let go. You know, the complaints obscured the success. Perhaps 4 winning seasons in 5 years, the last 2 being 50-win campaigns, getting to at least the second round in the last 2-3 years was commendable. But perhaps the Knicks left food on the table in the playoffs, falling short to the Pacers last year and this year. The latter in spectacular fashion. Go back to the game 1 loss. We talked about it last week. If that game 1 loss didn't happen, Neesmith making shots towards the end of the game, Halibrton Granted, he took the game to overtime, stupid shot, but Haliburton taking the game to overtime and stuff like that. Could be singing a different tune right now. And we talked about last week with D-Locke. If that game series with the 7 and get in New York in a game 7 win all game in New York in the Garden, with that fan base was going crazy when they beat the Celtics. Imagine what they'd be doing to those damn Pacers on the bench or whatever, or heckling them in that team hotel, whatnot, or harassing Reggie Miller on the broadcast. You couldn't. The Pacers couldn't go back to that environment, game 7, trying to win the game. So good on the Pacers winning game 6 right there. But that game 1 and game 2, especially game 2, when the Pacers won game 2, it was like that was a wrap. I don't want to say a wrap in the series, but it was a wrap. They took two of y'all in the Garden. 2-0 right there. Y'all didn't recover. And then, when time you adjust and play your bench a little bit, it's kind of like a little too little too late. Now, granted, I'll probably play the Stars a lot in that game 6 as well. If I'm trying to do that game, I'll play the Stars a lot in that strategy as well. But throughout the season and stuff like that, and all that good stuff, yeah, I think that's got to be worked on better by Thibodeau. Now, granted, if you look at Knicks roster, the bench, that's a lot to be desired. McBride, another year in, strong player. But, you look at Cameron Payne, Precious Achua, he's very fine and solid, but, he's an energy guy. Mitchell Robinson was hurt for most of the year and came back strong for the playoffs. Definitely all right. At this point in his career, he's just a bench player. Landry Shamet, fine player, but bench player. So, Tilt's got to adjust his roster, but you got to look at the roster construction and whatnot as well. I mean, besides the starting 5 and, Josh Hart and McBride, that's 7 guys. Some of the other guys I just mentioned there, really not that deep. I mean, I'm a Lakers fan, and I don't think our bench is strong, but shit. I got more confidence in them than the Knicks bench. You know what I'm saying? And you got to see the 2 teams in the finals right now. With OKC up 52-29, look at the 2 teams in the finals, and look how they went about things, drafting wise, in a sense. And I know the Paul George trades and stuff like that played a part in building things. But besides that Paul George trade for both teams, look how they've been drafting. Indiana, guys like Mathurin, Neesmith, Shepard, George Walker, guys like that. Sending a 2nd round pick to Obi Toppin. Don't you think the Knicks could use the Obi Toppin on their roster right now? Now you're talking about 8 guys deep. Now you get more breaks for OG and Mikal and Cat on the wing or down low. Look at OKC. A couple years, when they got SGA from the trade for Paul George, look at them. Chet Holmgren, 2nd pick overall. Jalen Williams, lottery pick. Casey Wallace, the other Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe. A couple of these guys are 2nd round picks. Josh Giddey, but you flip Giddey for And I know why they did it, but you flip Giddey for Alex Caruso because you need that veteran presence. And kind of worked out well for both teams because Giddey had a hell of a season in Chicago. But you kind of see how these looking at the finals, you see how these two teams are built, drafting wise. And granted, yes, they have gotten trade assets and stuff like that. But look how they drafting draft wise. Look how deep they go to their bench. And for the Knicks, you trade away 5 picks away from Mikal Bridges. I love Mikal Bridges. But that 5 picks would seem really excessive to give. Swapping RJ Barrett for OG and Microwave quickly for OG Thompson. I mean OG Onumobi. Good move. But you kind of sacrifice more scoring and give them that quickly to get that. So yeah, going back to this article, Thibodeau did play stars a lot and didn't develop bench the way other coaches have. Mikal Bridges openly complained about playing too many minutes, and that's when it seemed things started to go sideways. You don't fire Thibodeau with 3 years and $30 million left on the contract extension that won't kick in until next season. So Knicks doing Knicks things. And if you're James Dolan, if you didn't like the dude, I know success outweighs if you don't like somebody. But why don't you just wait to things play out and see how and go back to the extension that way? I'm just saying. That's why the Knicks always be in the mud. You know what I'm saying? That won't kick in until next season because you lose in the conference finals. You fire Thibodeau because you want to, which Vinny is right. But it's unclear where the Knicks go from here. Payas's trying to poach Jason Kidd for the Mavericks, which I don't see happening because Jason Kidd and the Mavs got their one pick overall. Now I don't know what his relationship with Nico Harrison is because that Luka trade made everybody look funny, and it seemed like Kidd did not like that at all. So I don't know what the relationship is with him. But what I just alluded to, you don't have to like the people you work with, and with them potentially drafting Cooper Flag #1 overall, you can mold another highly talented kid into your image. So I don't see Kid going nowhere and stuff like that. I know New York team made like a ready-made team, but why just play the long game, build with Cooper Flag and go about that way? You know what I'm saying? Just do that. If I was Jason Kidd, I'll stay in Texas. You got Cooper Flag coming in. Kyrie's gonna be out. Anthony Davis, you can flip him for some assets and whatnot. Klay Thompson too. Do a soft rebuild with Cooper Flag. Him, Derek Lively. What's the rush? You know what I'm saying? To go to New York and be there and have all that hassle and stuff like that. Wow. But perhaps they try and play Jason Kidd from the Mavericks. Maybe Holly thought of assistant Johnny Bryant gets his first job, albeit a difficult situation. And Johnny Bryant is a coach, assistant coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who's in the running for the Phoenix job, but went to his other campaign from the Cavaliers. Don't have his name in front of me, but he got the job in Phoenix after firing Mike Budenholzer, which I totally forgot about. But some have suggested the coaching search will go into Summer League in July, but it seems the Knicks don't have an outline plan for the future. Either way, things are intriguing, if not wholly uncertain, in Manhattan. So, I'm going back to this part. Mikal Bridges openly complained about playing too many minutes and when things started to get sideways. So, it seemed like Bridges and maybe Karl Anthony Towns are the main culprits of this. And it could be the other guys too. Josh Hart could have said something. OG could have said something. I look on the New York Post. And looking at Jalen Brunson's, he posted something on Instagram. He showed his solidarity to Tom Thibodeau. So, I mean, Brunson's been around the NBA for all his life. His dad played in the NBA. I think he knows about the ins and outs of the business and stuff like that. So, I think he showed his solidarity. Is that Don Nelson? But his solidarity with Tibbs. So, let me go to break real quick. But I want to talk about who does New York go after. If you're a Knicks fan, who do y'all want? I know I touched on Jason Kidd, but who do y'all want? And plus, it's a high pressure situation with a team built to win now. So I'll talk about on the other side of things real quick. But this is Davidson Crooks here. More after fast breaks here for iSports Radio. You're really following sports, and I'll catch you on the other side.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at @sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Okay, there we go. I lost y'all for a second. All right. As you can see on the ticker down below, and this is Davidson Crooks. Welcome back to Fast Break here for iSports Radio. You're the for sports. As you see on the ticker below, do follow iSports Radio on all your social media feeds: X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. Trying to get up to 1,000 followers. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell right there. Do give us a follow on YouTube there. A lot of great things in that. A lot of changes to the network, all that jazz. So do follow there. Go to iSportsRadio.com. Go to the website. See all the big changes we've been doing on there. All new news and shows alerts. Be there. The schedule all there. So do check that out as well. And then also, when I'm talking about YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, all this stuff, Facebook, doing a lot of short videos. A lot of guys and gals talking NHL playoffs, finals, the Stanley Cup, going on right now. The women's College World Series in softball just wrapped up with Texas winning. So I'll talk about that. Of course, here on the network, you got the Thunder Pacers playing right now. I'll talk about that as well. The New York Liberty. I'll talk about that. They ain't no. Chicago Sky. As I read the news right now, Courtney Vandersloot has a torn ACL. So, fired Teresa Weatherspoon for what? I don't know. Kennedy Carter is down in Mexico playing, not even on the WNBA roster right now, which is kind of mind-boggling. And they say that league is cutthroat, but a lot of teams can use the scoring right now. Looking at you, Connecticut, Chicago, hell, even the Aces. But anyways. But do follow iSports Radio on social media feeds right there as well. So, before I, get back to the New York talk real quick before I get out of here, we're at halftime at the game 2. The Thunder are up big right now. Let me pull that up. They lead 59-41, holding the Pacers to 34% shooting for the field. So this is what I kind of talked about before in the broadcast. You can't let the league get too big. You got to keep it short. Now, can the Pacers come back and win this game? Absolutely. We've seen them before. We've seen all playoff series. But kind of like alluded to about the New York crowd and stuff like that, this OKC crowd nothing to mess with as well. So if you're the Pacers, one thing a couple things you got to do in the third quarter. To me, I would do, don't let Jalen Williams get hot. Now, that doesn't mean scoring. That means him bringing the ball up, passing, stuff like that, creating things for others. You can't let him get going like that because he's been a third quarter killer for teams in the playoffs. Don't let him do that. Get that going right there. Secondly, just breathe easy, chip away at the lead. Play more than half-court offense, get Miles Turner involved down low. I know it's going to be the itch of trying to get those three-point shots going, but get some things going down low. Get those big men in foul trouble. Chet Holmgren have a good basketball game right now, but 11 points so far. For the Thunder, 11 points for him. 4 rebounds thus far for Chet Holmgren. So, in the second half, make them work. Make them work in the second half. Make them earn those points in the second half. And going back to the like guys like T. McConnell and stuff like that, and May Matherin, you got to make your shot, fellas. Got to make your shots. Got to. And for OKC to win this game in the second half, keep doing what you're doing. Your big three, in a sense, scoring very well. Continue that. Continue to play sound defense. Continue that. And don't let up on this team. If they make a little 5-0 run or whatever, call timeout, kind of squash that. All right, but don't let this team back in the game. And can kind of continue keeping Halibrton in check too. I don't have a stat line in front of me, but don't let him get going in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. If they're within 10 to 12 in the fourth quarter, do not let him get going in the second half. I mean, especially in the fourth quarter. Because that's when he's been really killing teams in the fourth quarter. I'm talking about Halibrton. So if you're OKC, don't let Halibrton get going in the fourth quarter if the game is close. If the game's like 20 plus going to the fourth, still keep it in check, but I think you probably have the game sound in hand. If it's in like 10-12, watch the Tyrese Haliburton takeover. But to wrap the show up, let me finish my New York Knicks thoughts here. Who does New York go after? Me personally, I don't know. I don't know who they go after. If y'all see the Knicks fans, y'all seen this. If y'all see this broadcast on wherever y'all see it from, comment down below. I don't know. Like I like I said about Kid. I don't think that's happening. If I was saying, I wouldn't do it either. Let's talk about Yume Yukata down in Houston, but if you're Ime, okay, look at it like this. Okay, I'm in Texas. My cost of living is way down compared to New York. Let's be real about that. I get more space where I live at. Let's be real. Shit. My cost of living is down better in New York. You know, I'm down there, could do a lot more stuff. I mean, in entertainment, you know, it depends what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? But I got more space in Houston, if you get my saying. But basketball wise, okay. I got a nice young roster, but I could do more. There's more could be done with it. I got Sengun. I got Jalen Green, Van Fleet, Dylan Brooks, Torrey Easton, Cam Whitmore, Thompson. I got a nice young core right now that I'm molded into my image. On New York, I got Brunson, I got Carnegie Towns, I got OG, Josh Hart, Bridges, and Miles McBride. Did I mention Josh Hart already? Yes, I did. I got those guys there. Who do I want to go to a more veteran-led team up in New York? Now, granted, if I go back up there, one thing I could get my revenge on the Celtics who let me go. Who after let me go, they won a championship. I can get my revenge against them. Jason Tatum will be out for the rest of the year. Out for next year. And they're going to make some roster moves. The Cavs. There's rumors about Darius Garland and Jared Allen be on the trade block. So they be making some moves to get on the tax cap. Giannis in Milwaukee, who knows how that's going to go. What else am I thinking about? The Pace is kind of a real stronghold team, but, you know, nothing really guaranteed how they're going to stay together. So that's about real 14 I really got to worry about. Detroit got to prove they can do it again 1 more year. Now we'll talk. But you got to keep Detroit on the back burner. Orlando, I know the D-Locks team, but they're kind of the same boat as Detroit. They got to do one more year to kind of show something. And those guys got to stay healthy in Orlando as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you're looking at in New York. Can you get back to the Eastern Conference Finals? Yeah, sure. Can you possibly get to the finals next year with some roster tinkering and stuff like that? Sure. Is your path easier to the NBA Finals? Maybe. Now, if you stay in Houston, another year of growth for you, the team that the coaches that you brought, your big man Sagoon probably plays tougher inside than Carl Towns. Could you sneak up on people again next season? Possibly. But, look who we got to contend with in the West. The OKC Thunder with SGA, the MVP, and that crew, guys. Denver and Jokic. Always going to be a problem. The Mavericks. Now, granted, Cooper Flag is going to be young, but that's the team you got to contend with. God knows what's going to happen to the Pelicans and Memphis Grizzlies. The Spurs are kind of like wait-and-see mode. The Suns are going to be dismantled. So, I don't know. The Warriors, they're going to watch the tinkering as well, but those guys are older. The Lakers, yeah, they got Luka, but how's that going to go? So, in Minnesota, with Anthony Edwards in tow. So, in essence, you got more of a struggle coming out the West, but the East ain't no slouch either. So if you're Ime, you got this looking like, got to stay my young core here, especially with Thompson as kind of like a budding two-way dude. Do I really want to let that go? Do I want to really let that go to New York for a hot, hungry man meal for a couple seasons, and then I might be let go if things don't go my way? I don't know. Could it go for the Johnny Bryant guy? Possibly. But after that, who do you go after? Mike Brown? Mike Malone? Mike Malone's kind of like the same boat in Thibodeau. Can he really adjust? Mike Budenholzer? Knicks fans, you see this, laugh at me. I'm just saying, like, there ain't too many guys out there. A lot of retreads I just named out right there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of retreads I named: Nate McMillan, Scott Brooks, Earl Watson, Terry Scott. Well, I wouldn't do, but a lot of guys out there that you just looking long barrel of the gun. But to me, if you made your Carter or Bryant from Cleveland, my humble opinion. And I would rather go with Bryant because come from a system in Cleveland that you kind of went deep in the bench and figure out rotations and stuff like that. And I think they'll go in line on what some of these Knicks players want. So if I had to choose, I would choose Bryant from Cleveland, Johnny Bryant from Cleveland, and go about that way. Let them build a nice staff. Talk with Leon Rose, Robbie Free, about constructing a nice roster for the money you have. I don't know if you have to trade guys or not, but even if you don't have, and I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't trade the core. I mean, you got to sell to some of these free agents like, hey, man, this is what it is going to be. I won't trade the core yet. So OG, Josh Hart, Cat, Brunson, McHale, Miles McBride. And I know Mitch Robinson, he's a free agent. He could be brought back, but, if he's gone, you got to bring somebody big man in. But, if I was me, the Knicks, Johnny Bryant, and then just figure out the bench the best way you can. So that's who I would go after if I was the Knicks. And I'll put a bow on that. We'll talk about it next week if they hire somebody. If not, like I discussed in the article about Vinny Goodwill, they could wait to summer league to announce somebody, which I think is kind of preposterous in my opinion. But anyways, and one more subject to talk about Vinny Goodwill real quick. Shout out to him. He called out Jason McIntyre, who works with Colin Cowherd and stuff like that. And this is what I kind of go back to early about iSports Radio and what we do here and stuff like that. I don't have to clip it for me, but to summarize, Jason McIntyre basically said he wants super teams or death. Basically, this series where I got in front of me right now between the Pacers and Thunder, he hates this type of series because it's two smart market teams. Indianapolis is a big metropolis, but anyways. And Vincent Goodwill brought up a good point. Like, people like this, do not help the sport of basketball. They really do not. Because, let's be real, if you love basketball and game basketball, this is right here. I mean, it's cool. You got like two great point guards going at each other, and Halibrton and probably shot Miles Turner. Halibrton and SGA going at each other. You've seen that young big man coming to their own like Chet Holmgren. A guy from a small college in Santa Clara and Jalen Williams doing this thing. A veteran like Miles Turner, who's been with his organization for years, and people complain about these guys topping teams everywhere. Miles Turner been with the Pacers for most of all his career, and his first finals appearance after he made that 2-point shot. There are some storylines there. Rick Carlisle, was his second stint with the Pacers, getting to the NBA Finals after all this time. I forgot the coach name for OKC, but his first time in the NBA Finals. Sam Presti, been around for OKC with years, back in the finals again with another young crew. But people like Jason McIntyre, and that's, I think, why, the founder Larry B, founded iSports Radio years ago, just for like stuff like this. For me to talk to you about basketball and stuff like that, give my analysis. Don't give hot takes, stuff like that, just for the sake of clicks. Because people like that, if I hate to advocate like this, but people like that, like Jason McIntyre saying stuff like that, if he be out on his own, he will not get views like that. Let's be real. And he's propped up by the machine by Colin Cowherd. Now, I know Colin, that's your boy and whatnot, but that's a shit take. For good for Vinny to call him out on that. I know we posted something there as well on X, but folks like that got no place to talk about basketball. Let's be real. And you wonder why these networks kind of wonder why they wouldn't get the ratings like that on TV like that. Yeah, the internet views are nice and stuff like that. 1.5 million views on a hot take is great, but where's the substance in that? You know what I'm saying? It's like the teams, like these folks get mad at super teams, and then come right behind and say, "Well, damn, this final's gonna be boring without super teams." Like, well, pick a lane and stay with it. So it's like the team of if LeBron and Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, excuse me, and damn Giannis team up in damn Charlotte. Tell you like that shit. But don't hate on a series like this when two teams made it to the finals. They did their thing. They drafted well, built the team the way they built them, in the finals. The teams you won in there, they floundered. Their bad decisions got them to a point. Spurs, Lakers, Suns, Miami Heat, Knicks, Celtics, Bucks. It is what it is. But to wrap this up, I had to get that point in. Game 2 right now, before I got off the air, the OKC Thunder is up 66-49 with 9:07 left in the third quarter, excuse me, with SGA going to the line. So right now, what I talked about earlier by halftime, if you're Indiana, you gotta continue chopping. Don't get flustered. Stay within your system. And if you're OKC, expanding the league, get those guys in foul trouble and whatnot, and he possibly, and Rick Carlisle's arguing with Zach Zabra about the call. And 2 for 2 for SGA at the line, and with the lead back up to 19. So we'll see how the rest of this game goes. We'll be live tweeting. Halibrton bringing the ball up with Gary Williams defending him. No, Lou Dort, defending him. And trying to get Lou Dort off the screen, stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning with me tonight. D-Locke will be back next week. Talk about, the series so this far, his thoughts on the Thibodeau firing, and his thoughts on that, and see who he likes for them to hire and whatnot. And we'll discuss all that as well. You follow us on X at FastBreakerIESR. That's FastBreakerIESR. You follow D-Locke on Twitter /X at Black-813. And follow me on Twitter /X4288 as well. Like I said, follow IE Sports Radio on your social media feeds. Right there on the ticker right there. There's a follow on all those sites. So you won't miss out on all the analysis in all sports. Ranging from basketball to American football and worldwide football as well. Women's College World Series thoughts as well. I'll talk about that on there as well. We got you covered in IE Sports Radio. No hot takes here. We give you the truth right here. Real quick, going to the WNBA side of things real quick. Shout out to the New York Liberty. They really come out strong this season. They are off to an 8-0 start. Can they maintain that? By the way, the rest of the East Conference looking, I think it could be that for a while. But Minnesota's 9-0 too, so could we see a rematch in the WNBA Finals later on here in September. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with me. Enjoy Game 2 of the NBA Finals if you're watching. Hope you did along with me. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, talk to y'all later. Peace.